Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey with the JX Fight Club in Shanghai, China. Today we have a question from our friend Paul from Australia. Hey, Paul, how's it going? He has a question about child fighters in Thailand. He says this: I recently saw an article in my local newspaper about child Muay Thai fighters in Thailand. I'll send you the article. It's not a big one. I think that's the bottom line of this email. Okay. I've known about child fighters for a while, but I never thought much of it. I won't bore you with my opinion, but I would like to know your thoughts on it. Not just with young kids getting injuries and brain damage, but also the corruption and gambling surrounding it. Parents pushing their kids to fight for money, and fighting being the seemingly only way these kids and families can make some money and stay away from drugs and prostitution. Thanks for your time, Ramsey. Stay cool. All right, thanks, Paul. Appreciate the question. Man, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Man, I remember first time I went to Bangkok, I went down to Lumpini Boxing Stadium, watched some fights, and amazing fights. And after the main card, the kids come out to fight. And there are these kids, anywhere from like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old out there fighting in the ring. And they're fighting full contact, full Muay Thai rules. And it's weird. It's weird. And they're really good and they're really skilled. And you can tell these kids do a lot of training. But they are kicking and punching and kneeing and elbowing each other. And it's a fight. I mean, they're little kids, but it's a fight. So it's a weird thing to see this as a Westerner, as an American, as somebody who has children, seeing kids fight. And it's part of Thai culture. It's part of their national identity in many ways, and so I'm very reluctant to pass judgment on them and say, no, you shouldn't do that because of my Western sensibilities or whatnot. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever actually formed a strong opinion about this. It is something that happens, and my opinion is not going to change it. I know quite a few Muay Thai fighters from Thailand who have been fighting since they were children. And fighting is very much part of their identity. For example, my friend Rock Chanan Sinsub, he's been fighting since he was 5 years old. The guy has amassed a career record of something like 360 fights, mostly wins. And he's just a phenomenal fighter and an amazing coach. And the guy had a profound impact on my life as a fighter when he was coaching me and helping me out with a lot of the pitfalls of fight training that I was falling into. And if it was not for his experience of fighting as a child, I wouldn't have had that experience with him. So it's weird, man. It's weird. Now those child fights at Lumpini Boxing Stadium, most of the crowd leaves after the main event is done. And so generally it's the trainers, it's the coaches, it's the parents, it's the people involved directly with the kids who stick around. And sometimes the foreign spectators who want to see, what's this all about? Kids in the ring? Whoa, these guys are pretty good. It reminded me a lot of when I lived in Argentina, lived down in Buenos Aires for a couple of years. And I realized pretty quickly the average South American is way, way better at soccer or football for you non-Americans than the average American. And like way better to a crazy degree. I remember walking down the street and these kids who were like 9, 10, 11 years old came up and challenged me and an American associate of mine to a game of soccer. And I was thinking, they're kids. How good can they be? So I get out there and these kids are amazing. and they're like what was my idea of a professional in my mind. They're running circles around me, they're dribbling the ball around me, they're doing like those backward backflip bicycle kicks and things like, or what do we call those? Backflip kicks. I don't even know the terminology for soccer moves, but just all this crazy stuff you see on television and highlight reels, and these kids are pulling this off. Now, in soccer, they're not kicking each other in the head, not usually anyway, not on purpose, hopefully. And Muay Thai and combat sports, damage is the name of the game. And so, yeah, I don't think anybody really likes to see kids get beaten up. But at the same time, these kids, because they were so good at Muay Thai at such a young age, they were very much able to mitigate damage that they would have received. When I first started fighting, I was not a very good fighter, and my very first pro kickboxing match, I probably took about 90 direct hits to the head, like hard ones, heavy ones. I did significant damage, and yeah, if I had the type of training that I should have had prior to that experience, yeah, that number could have gone way, way, way down. So now with a lot more experience, I can get in the ring and spar and scrap with much more experienced, technical, aggressive fighters than that guy that I fought, and take 0 direct hits and 0 damage. So there's a lot to say about training correctly, but anyway, addressing the issue of gambling. Gambling in Thailand is an interesting situation because it's technically illegal, but of course it still happens. The way Muay Thai fights happen in Thailand is very different from a lot of other combat sports around the world. For example, Americans tend to start fights like fights. They come out swinging. They come out trying to hurt you. They come out trying to finish that fight as quickly as possible. In Thailand, not so much. It's different. The first round starts out fairly slow and almost like a casual sparring pace. Like they're just feeling each other out. And as the rounds progress, the intensity increases. And then the last round, the fighters are going really, really hard and really fast, and they're just throwing everything they have. It's the polar opposite of the first round. And this is confusing to a lot of Westerners. The first time they see it, they're like, well, what's going on? They looked so wimpy and slow and weak in the first round, and now they look like absolute animals in the 5th round. So what's happening there? Well, it's tradition, but part of that tradition is that in the first round, that's when people place their bets. Because even though gambling is illegal as far as I understand it, there are certain exceptions that are made for betting on fights. So that first round is where the people will place their bets. So the fighters are often encouraged to carry each other through the first round so that the audience is able to place their bets without somebody getting knocked out right away. So it's not just that, though. There's this culture of politeness in Thailand, and if there are any Thai viewers out there, feel free to correct me in the comments down below. But there's this culture of politeness in Thailand, as far as I understand it, that nobody really wants to be the first one to turn it into a fight, if you will. But again, as soon as one fighter touches that other guy with that teep, with the sole of the foot, which is considered very dirty and insulting in Thailand, in their culture, it starts to look a lot more like a fight and a lot less like friendly sparring. But, child fighting, man. My honest answer, I don't know how I feel about this. I do know a lot of people in Thailand, a lot of people there live in fairly desperate situations, and they do rely on their children to go out and fight every week or every other week in order to earn money to buy food. And without those fights, they don't eat. And that's rough, man. That's rough. I get it. I get it. Do I like it? Like I said before, whether I like it or not, whether I agree with it or not, it's not going to change that situation. It's not going to feed those kids. It's not going to feed their families. So it is what it is. Tell me what you think in the comments down below about kids fighting in Thailand. Thanks for the question. If any of you have questions, leave them in the comments down below or email me at ramseydewey@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.